Hello, everybody. It's Thursday, February 27th, and we've got some Chapo coming at you. Very pleased to introduce our guest today. On a perfect day when Keir Starmer is in the United States, we are pleased to announce two lads from the hottest new podcast out there, Scroungers Pod Cast. Returning to the show is Eyup Lovely, and joining him is young savage Jacob Venom Snake. Eyup, Jacob, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to join you, boys.
Yeah, nice to be back. People were so normal and proportionate last time.
Yeah, they treated you really well. Everyone took it fantastically well, in fact.
I'm sort of used to I don't know, people trying to stir up shitstorms around like guests and stuff. It's always like, I mean, I feel bad about it because it's like, you know, these are always just like normal people who are just like the 8200 unit of Mossad is fucking with them now because they were on this stupid show. But like this one was the weirdest. I could not figure it out. Like
over the summer, I'd wake up and for 2-3 weeks straight, people were just angry about me for something new. I didn't do or say anything.
I can't imagine what it was like for you, because for me, I would be on Twitter and be like, remember when Jose Aldo was like the best 145 pounder in the world? And people would be like, oh, are you going to denounce Huntington Leroy, a.k.a. Eyup Lovely? Like, they're doing all these, they were like, we found his identity. We found his identity. His name is...
Delroy Booth got accused of sex crimes and put out a statement distancing himself from me. He didn't deny the allegation at hand.
Look, I may be a prolific rapist, but I am not Eyup Lovely.
It was so fucking weird and stupid, and obviously you were like, no, I'm not Sherlock Whittington. You think I am? And it was like all the people like who were like, you know, smugly, spraying this around. None of them went, we've accused this man of being Montgomery Chalice, and that's not him. Are we fucking stupid or something?
On the sole basis of my voice and what my hands look like, I think. They had examined photos I'd put up and said, those are the hands of Delroy Booth.
I would know Delroy's hands anywhere. Pull up your iDroid, boss. We need to confirm that this is Delroy's hands.
Look, we just need to see if the glove fits.
You're not taking Delroy out? You're folding him? What's he going to do on Mother Base?
Well, like I said, it's great to have the Scroungers Pod on the program as we examine the special relationship between the United States and Great Britain, evidenced by today's visit to the Oval Office by one Keir Starmer. And I'd just like to begin with this write-up in the New York Times. The headline is, Starmer flies to meet Trump with a gift and a difficult message. Do we have any indication of what the gift is? Is it another bust of Winston Churchill?
Well, there's two gifts. There is the more personal. He brought some tartan for him because Donald Trump famously Scottish to commemorate that. But they also they're giving him a second ever state visit. No, nobody has ever had a second state visit in this country. No world leader. But the king loves him so much. And to be fair, Trump had a very weird response to it. Starmer brought a letter from King Charles, and Trump just said, am I supposed to read this now? But he did, and then he just concluded that he is a beautiful man, he said, with a beautiful signature.
I would love to see a close-up of King Charles and Donald Trump shaking hands, like the sort of the flesh melding of King Charles's sausage fingers and Trump's weird bruised sort of leathery mitts. Like
it would look like Tetsuo at the end of Akira.
yeah. I was thinking the Fly or something, but
I mean, to be fair, Starmer kind of has hands like King Charles, you know, where they're just flooded with plasma. They look like they're
imagine a throuple between those, like all three of those fingers just intermingling together. Like I might have to take my jacket off at this point. This is kind of getting a bit steamy.
I mean, like those are definitely shitty gifts by Keir, and like I've learned everything I know about Keir Starmer through you, Eyup. I don't believe he's probably ever given a good gift in his life. Like he strikes me like the type of guy, his son turned 12 and he's like, guess what? I got you Ron Chernow's amazing biography series on the famed Jewish banking family, the Warburgs. I know you wanted a PS5, but I think the Warburgs is going to be very big. But I would say America started this whole thing when O'Bungler gave Queen Elizabeth an iPod filled with his speeches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I totally forgot about that.
Gordon Brown
That
got
is a horrible
Obama a bunch
gift.
of just DVDs at one point,
Yeah,
but it didn't work on the region.
Do you think Obama, like up until she died, Obama was sending her like his annual playlist every year and just be like, hey, Lizzie, it's Obama. Thought you might like to check out this guy, JPEG Mafia.
I think O'Bungler was like, with Queen Elizabeth, he's like one of those guys who like sends you all his best tweets with no caption.
Yo, juice this.
Yeah, isn't this one good?
Yo, Liz, can I get a retweet?
It's a little different with King Charles because he feels like much more of a fleeting figure. He's presumably.
I mean, isn't he dying of cancer right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, he
got
probably won't survive the year.
Yeah, easily. He's got bum cancer, and they was suggesting that he was treating it with potions.
Oh yeah, he's really into homeopathy, right?
Yeah, he is, and he's very much against that type of thing, chemotherapy and whatnot. So presumably he'll be dead by dawn.
Oh my God.
Back to Sir Keir, though. This is right up from the New York Times from just yesterday. It says here, now it's Keir Starmer's turn. After President Emmanuel Macron of France navigated his meeting with President Trump on Monday, skirting the rockiest shoals but making little headway, Mr. Starmer, the British Prime Minister, will meet Mr. Trump on Thursday to plead for the United States not to abandon Ukraine. Mr. Starmer will face the same balancing act as Mr. Macron did, without the benefit of years of interactions dating to 2017, when Mr. Trump greeted the newly elected French president with a white-knuckle handshake that was the first of several memorable grip and grin moments. Unlike Mr. Macron, Mr. Starmer will arrive in the Oval Office with a pledge to increase his country's military spending to 2.5% of gross domestic product by 2027 and to 3% within a decade. That addresses one of Mr. Trump's core grievances, his contention that Europeans are free riders sheltering under an American security umbrella. To finance the rearming, Mr. Starmer will pare back Britain's overseas development aid, a move that echoes on a more modest scale Mr. Trump's dismantling of the United States Agency for International Development. I'm just going to skip ahead here. Mr. Mandelson said Mr. Starmer had a different style from Mr. Macron, who called Mr. Trump Dear Donald and tapped him on the knee, even as he corrected him on his claim that Ukraine would pay back Europe's aid. But Mr. Mandelson said his boss's less demonstrative approach would also be effective. The prime minister has his own personal relationship with President Trump that has been established over a series of phone calls and meetings, Mr. Mandelson said in an interview. Keir Starmer is a plainly spoken, straightforward guy who is perfectly capable of speaking truth unto power and doing so respectfully in a way that will enable the president to see what he and the U.S. gets out of any situation.
Say it with me, everybody. An ordinary bloke doing an extraordinary job.
I mean, I was thinking earlier when I saw them talking, it's not like Macron and Trump's relationship. There is a bit of I don't know. Keir just has got his tail between his legs, just accepting.
Yeah, he's very cowed.
Trump is being quite passive aggressive, quite rude. At one point, Keir was talking about Ukraine, and Trump just said, "Well, would you be able to defeat Russia by yourself?" Everyone in the room laughed at him, and Keir's just like, "Oh, very. That's brilliant."
Yeah, he flustered and blushed and sort of just didn't say anything. Like he's completely emasculated by him.
I didn't think that he would have such open contempt for him because they've been on a Trump charm offensive for a little while. David Lammy briefed the media that when they had dinner, Trump gave him 2 scoops of ice cream, an extra scoop, because he liked him so much. He said. So they clearly thought they were getting along to some capacity, but their relationship seems largely disdainful.
That is such typical like Trump weirdness that like David Lammy, who like in previous years like did say, you know, a lot of things that were Trump's a Nazi, like things that were generally in like the left liberal parlance of Trump during his first term. And just for like whatever reason, I don't know, he thought he was Dennis Haysbert or something. He loves him. But then Keir Starmer, he's like, who's this fucking weird piece of shit?
For some reason, David Lammy has been courting J.D. Vance for years. They are evidently friends.
Ew.
Because he featured him in a lot of these promotional videos that they do. And J.D. Vance is a repulsive looking man.
I like the 2 scoops of ice cream as being like a positive indicator for how Trump feels about you, because Trump has long been known to sort of control the diets and food portions of those around him. You'll remember famously what he did to Chris Christie, where he left him at a McDonald's. Or that he wouldn't let him go to the buffet table a second time.
Yeah, he's like in Casino when Ace Rothstein is weighing the dancers, but with all these like dumpy 65-year-old men.
Well, I think Mr. Christie is worried that if he's over his weight limit, you'll fire him. He is right. I want him out. I want him out of here. He's an institution. That's right. He's an institution. He's fucking fat and lazy. Get him out of here.
I laugh every single day at that period after he'd won the election but not been inaugurated. There was a period where he wasn't on Twitter so much, Trump, and he just one night just posted an AI-generated photo of Chris Christie just fat as fuck eating McDonald's with drones dropping off Big Macs behind him.
Well, so I mentioned the New York Times article, and it is a matter of like almost perfect kismet that on the day of, here in America today is the day of final truth, justice, and revelation as it concerns former Mossad agent and blackmail artist Jeffrey Epstein and quote, the release of the Epstein files by Attorney General Pam Bondi. Now, as best I can tell, the release of the Epstein files includes a Xerox dossier of information that's already been publicly available for several years and news articles that they've just copied and given to libs of TikTok and Mike Cernovich. Yeah, I bring this up because the fact that like Peter Mandelson, the new UK ambassador to the United States, was in the Oval Office on the day that they're supposedly shining a light on all of the Epstein's associates and the truth about that case. And
was there anyone closer to Epstein other than Ghislaine than Peter Mandelson, as far as I can tell?
He had a pet name for him, didn't he?
Yeah, Jeffy and Petey, they called each other. They went on holiday together. He stayed at his house after he'd been convicted while he was like the deputy prime minister, effectively. And no one gives a shit about this at all in this country. This is utterly maddening. The fact that he can just become the British ambassador to the US, and the only scrutiny he got in the press was that people thought he was too kind to China, which doesn't seem like it interferes so much with that role.
Yeah, I thought, like, I was shocked when they announced it until I think you pointed out to me that, like, this may be like a former open secret and like common knowledge among a lot of people who follow this stuff in the West, but that the UK press really barely ever touches it.
Yeah, they've only asked Starmer about it once. He gives this insane answer that he doesn't say anything in it. I think he says about 50 times. He says he doesn't know any more than we do, which would
well, I mean, oh great, yeah, great. Let's just make him ambassador.
Wasn't he was it the Independent or I can't remember, or the Telegraph? He was interviewed by Peter Mandelson and he was saying he was asked
Financial
about
Times.
Financial Times. And he basically said, drop it, fuck off, stop talking about this.
Yeah, the day he started that job, they interviewed him in the Financial Times, and pretty much immediately in that article, they asked him about the JP Morgan report and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He says, I regret ever meeting him or being introduced to him by his partner Ghislaine Maxwell. I regret even more the hurt he caused to many young women. I'm not going to go into this. It's a Financial Times obsession, and frankly, you can all fuck off, okay?
I like when he says, I regret even meeting him, and then meeting him again, and again, and again, and having sleepovers at his house.
Virginia Giuffre met him at one of these parties, has said as much. He wasn't.
You bring up Virginia Giuffre, which is why, like, the absolutely like hocus pocus stagecraft of the release of these supposed Epstein files being handed directly to Mike Cernovich, the guy who slandered Virginia by releasing court documents given to him by Alan Dershowitz, as Epstein's fucking attorney and probably client.
It's just to muddy the waters, I think. What do these people want from an Epstein list? You have the names, they're already there. There is no just definitive catalogue of people that were trafficked to. They've not got most people, like in Britain. I don't know if this is a thing abroad, but the vast majority of people in Britain appear to believe a list of celebrities that were at Epstein's island, and some of the names on there's a footballer, Callum Hudson-Odoi, who would have been about 6 years old, saying that he was there alongside, like Tom Hanks and any other random approximate Democrat celebrity. I think these people, other than, I guess, maybe more direct evidence that he was in contact with people like Tony Blair, maybe, I don't think there's much more that would be revealed. Obviously, he had some strange relationships with a lot of world leaders. He was answering to a certain country and their certain security services,
A famous former cross-dressing, as a matter of professional duty, not for his own enjoyment, Ehud Barak, former cross-dressing prime minister, made several visits. I mean, like, in 2018, this course that this thing went on was sadly predictable, right? And I don't think it was like any type of like genius foresight that this would get filtered through the American and then later Western lens of media consumption. And it would just turn into this thing where the concept of the client list is the perfect example of this. We know basically most of the most important people that were associated with him. We have confirmed records.
UK ambassador.
Yeah, confirmed that the former Trump labor secretary, who was the U.S. attorney at the time, said, "Oh, I was told he was above my pay grade because he belongs to fucking intelligence." We have everything, but everything hinges on this client list. This thing that, like, it both doesn't exist in the sense that there is not like a literal like PDF that's like, here's all the guys ordered by the worst stuff they did. And guess what? It's ordered by, most to least Democrat.
Best I can tell is the FBI seized some CDs that had famous names plus an age on it, but those have never been released in any detail of what those names were or anything like that. Presumably they went straight in bin, You're not seeing those.
And this was obviously like there were like probably like more Democrats and more like global center left figures involved with this, but it was truly like a very bipartisan thing at the end of the day. But like the thing that happened today with the Epstein files part 1, even if the stuff in there wasn't just like Xerox shit we already know, ultra redacted to protect Israel, to protect any like Trump associates, to protect Trump himself, it would be farcical just on the nature of like, you're sending in the fucking alimony rapist and the Chabad spinster, and they're getting if what was in there was real, they are receiving like these tranches of child pornography. And they're like, yo, who's coming to the Holiday Inn to watch this with us?
Yeah, it was surreal to see that image of them like in the Rose Garden holding up these like Xerox news articles, beaming ear to ear as they were like, yay, look at all this child sex trafficking. We're so happy to have this now. Surely there'll be some sort of these revelations will further bring down all the powerful evil people who are coincidentally our political enemies.
I mean, it's a trite.
What a coincidence! It turns out all the accusations against Alan Dershowitz were completely false. Amazing!
It really is incredible that the Democrats just continually they have to be associated with the Clintons or whoever else, and they are just unable to touch it. There was Michael Wolff released that audio during the election of Epstein saying, "Oh, Donald Trump's my best friend, and I'm a pedophile with him." And they didn't do it because you've got Bill Clinton out campaigning, and there's sort of an understanding there, I think, almost.
Whenever like things like this, like these promised revelations, and I feel the same way every time. Whether it's like they're gonna release the JFK files, they're gonna release the Area 51 files. So like the idea that like the same government that like killed the president and is currently like breeding alien greys with like human women and children or whatever, they're like, well, yeah, we kept extensive records on all of this, and we'd be happy to share them with you when a certain amount of time has passed.
I mean, it's always going to function as a sort of like limited hangout type of thing, where it's like you can use like to sort of occupy both sides, or it's like you're on the Democratic side or Republican side. You can just sort of like, there's no real information. There's nothing that like anything that was actually like anything that could be used against them is like Eyup said, is thrown in the fucking bin. It's gone. But you have names and numbers. And so the like again, like Cernovich or any of these guys can throw that out and say, look at the Democratic sickos, or then the other side they can go, here, look at the Trump sickos. And it's like, yeah, they're all connected. They're all like fucking children, but it's never enough to actually nail the other side. It's just another manifestation, I guess, of a sort of maybe a culture war thing, or it never goes anywhere. It's just
got a completely different
box.
life of its own. It's like the P. Diddy stuff, you know. I seen a post the other day, Post Malone meeting some kid with cancer, and the comments are just like, "Oh, getting ahead of the Diddy tapes." Just every single thing has to be related to this. It's absurd. It bears no reality whatsoever to what is going on. People have this sort of folk horror idea of what.
Yeah, they get to build up their own sort of idea of what was actually going on without ever having any real evidence for it.
Yeah,
it's like a build your own adventure type shit.
Yeah, very much so.
And like another thing that makes this day's disclosures also very funny in light of recent events is Trump intervening in the Andrew and Tristan Tate case in Romania and just basically importing two alleged sex criminals to the United States of America and sending them up in Florida, apparently. I don't know. I saw something about how Ron DeSantis was like, we don't want them in Florida, but like,
Andrew Tate just launched a political party here. I don't know why he's doing this. He launched the Bruv Party. It's the stupidest manifesto I've ever seen in my life. He wants to create something called BBC Punishment to get rid of knife crime. And if you're caught with a knife, your incarceration is live streamed on television nationwide to stop people from offending, because they'll see.
That's just Big Brother.
Yeah,
Is a camera in your cell or something?
It's almost an incentive, I guess. I mean, he is just all over the shop, and his brother too. Their voices are insane. They've got this like neo-transatlantic accent.
Yeah, it's very odd. He sounds like the most like autistic guy in your class trying to do an American accent. Like it doesn't land anywhere. It's very bizarre.
Andrew Tate was on Big Brother, I think, here possibly.
Oh yeah, he was.
And he got kicked off. I'm not probably for being a creep. You know, it's with Andrew Tate and his brother. It's so transparent. You know, they love on Twitter. They'll say the N-word hard R, and they're like, "Wow, is he allowed to say that?" And, you know, I'm sure people do get offended, but it kind of wears thin a little bit. I don't know how large their audience is now, but all I see them do is launch failed political projects, bounce through.
I was thinking about this like earlier this week in conjunction with like, is wokeness over? Well, you know, woke ain't going away here. And like, the thing is, I was just thinking about like the extent to which wokeness was the thing that pissed people off. It was because it was like censorious, scolding, humorless, and just like interjected itself in areas where areas of life that people would rather just not care about. I feel very strongly that the anti-woke online right, now that they have their grubby little hands on the levers of power, are going to make people sick of their bullshit 10 times faster than people got sick of wokeness, because like they have their own speech codes. And like, I was thinking about this in context of like recently here in the United States, the Philadelphia Eagles, our Super Bowl winning football team, declined an offer to visit the White House, which is usually given to the winner of any championship team. Yeah. And I just saw like the torrent of comments being like, well, I used to like rooting for them, but now I think Trump should take away their Super Bowl. And it's just like,
is that his powers?
They think winning election means that everyone has to like you, and if you get made fun of, it's like a violation of their civil rights, or like, and then they're demanding that you be censored or like fired or you just executed or something for treason.
And I think that they're quite. I don't know. Normal people don't like this stuff. They like Elon Musk is just constantly calling people retarded on Twitter now. We have Boris Johnson's ex advisor is friends with Elon Musk, Dominic Cummings, and he's an insane lunatic. He started speaking like this. His bio is like weaponizing autism for the British project or something. But the other day, like this former chief advisor essentially ran the government during coronavirus. He was just calling a a centrist commentator. He called him a black retard. And I think how many years would this have been okay 18 months ago? I don't think so. So I think there is going to be a hard limit on that type of thing. The way that they are now deliberately saying all of these, it's like edgelord 2009 bullshit. People don't like that. People find it not so much offensive as incredibly annoying. And embarrassing, I think.
Well, it's just so sweaty and and just desperate, like just so ham-fisted.
Yeah, like before all this, I wasn't opposed to like the word in and of itself, and like you see the comedic value in it, right?
Yeah.
It's very syllabically pleasurable. Yeah. It's, there's a lot of reasons why it worked comedically.
It's one of the most pleasurable.
Yeah, but part of that reason was that it was like, bad to say.
Yeah.
But when like this 64-year-old Fidelity Investments executive who bundles for like the Manhattan GOP is saying it, it's like, yeah, this is really fucking cool. This is so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what people say. I don't say that word because I just can't be arsed getting into that. But if I did say it, I'd probably be thinking, these guys are kind of ruining something nice.
They're spoiling the fun.
Going here.
But it is funny, the sort of like the flattening of like these kind of differences, where it's just sort of like, that like modern online far right now just has the sort of like same scold sensibilities as the sort of like left liberal types on Twitter, like in 2016, 2020. Like, just like, can we get this person fired for saying this? Can we get this person sort of shut down for this?
And they're eating each other alive as well, importantly.
Yeah. Now that they've actually got power, they're immediately cannibalizing each other.
Yeah, it's completely fracturing because they don't actually agree on much. There is a large contingent of just full-on white supremacists who have hitched to Trump because it's the closest thing in town, but he's not going to, he's just a capitalist, different theatre.
It's very funny seeing them realize that he's still like a slave to Israel, that he will still do anything they say. And like, I didn't vote for this. Well, I think he did. I think that was very obvious.
Someone pointed out, because some people on the right are getting mad about him, like, I don't know, giving visas to the sex criminal brothers, and they were like, someone was pointing out, they were like, hey, when I voted for Trump, I didn't vote for this. Like, I don't like accused rapists who run fake universities to scam the government out of money. And of the wokeness of like a post 2016 vintage, there was also this like expectation that like certain cultural figures just arrived on the scene and they're like, we all love this person, right? Lizzo is very good. We love her music and everything about her. Now, like, the online Reddit is doing this, but it's with fucking Elon Musk. Yeah. So when this guy, this like pallid face, like pasty face, like just freak gets out of there, like just coked out of his, no, he's like just juiced to the gills on ketamine at CPAC.
Oh, he's
like,
ketamine out of his head. I can tell he's fucking gone.
You're trying to ban comedy. It is so bad. It literally makes my skin crawl.
And he says, "I'm living the meme, sort of like, become meme." That's
and just meanwhile, he's just got fucking 15 kids dropping dead day after day. It's just madness. He's walking through a hallway of ghosts. Yeah.
He's sat and devouring his sons, but he doesn't even realize it.
I mean, he offered his spunk to RFK Jr.'s former running mate. She turned it down ostensibly. I do understand.
Oh my God, that Nicole Shanahan woman. I have an article.
Did you see her conversion the other day?
Yeah.
She's a Jew for Jesus now.
Yeah. Anyone who has had more than 2 religious conversions in their lifetime as an adult should get sent to the funny farm. Bye-bye. Just get out the butterfly net. I cannot take anything you have to say seriously.
I saw a video of her. Yeah. And by the way, she is going to be like Eastern Orthodox by the 4th of July. She's just running through all of them. She was pointing at like planes in the sky, and she's like, they think that we don't notice them realigning the sky and spraying chemicals on us. And it's like, can someone put this crazy lady in a padded room? And this woman has so much fucking money because she was married to that Google guy, right?
Yeah. She had an affair with Elon at some point, I do believe. There's a lot of strange stuff. I just assume that people in that milieu are just all shagging each other or inseminating each other.
Sorry. This is the quote here from the Daily Beast article. It says the Silicon Valley billionaire divorcee who is RFK Jr.'s running mate has revealed a new twist in her life. She has become a Jew for Jesus. Nicole Shanahan, whose wealth is thanks to her divorce from Google co-founder Sergey Brin, posted a long essay on X which disclosed that she had been baptized in her backyard swimming pool in the Bay Area by a part-time prison chaplain recommended to her by her Mayan Mexican masseuse when she was asked about finding someone. When asked about finding someone to perform an exorcism. I'm sorry, you cannot be a fucking Jew of any kind if you believe in exorcisms.
In her swimming pool? Is it like what? There's no chlorine in the fucking Bible.
It's you can't. It's offensive to both Christians and Jews to call yourself a Jew for Jesus.
Yeah. The disclosure is the latest chapter in the 39-year-old one-time Catholic schoolgirl's journey through modern American life, which has seen her to convert to Judaism, marry one of the world's richest men, flirt with Druidism, run for the nation's second high office, and lately volunteer her wealth to oppose people who voted against her former running mate's confirmation, while also suggesting contrails from planes are part of a sinister conspiracy. Shanahan said that she had become Jewish in 2014 when she was engaged to a Jewish man, but last September, our family suffered a heart-wrenching loss, which she did not provide details of, leading to her Christian conversion.
I love that. I love that. She was really I was chosen in 2014. They made me Jewish. But then my fucking grandmother died. And it's like, this shit is not like, is God, like, am I on the wrong team?
It just that's how her post starts. It's just like my family suffered a heart-wrenching loss. Well, I'm not prepared to talk about it at all, though. Nevertheless, I'm now a Jew for Jesus. I think Glenn Beck said that he noticed she was wearing a cross last year, and he said it was a beautiful journey she'd been on. So she'd been flirting with it for a while, I guess.
I mean, I love that phrase in the article, her journey through American life. That is such a great euphemism for describing an insane person being crazy. Yeah, her journey through American life of like, biting a raven's head off and looking for the soul of Christ inside of it.
She is religiously identified as every World of Warcraft class by now.
And also, I'm sorry, get the fuck out of my country if you flirted with Druidism. That's the one religion that has no basis in American history whatsoever.
Yeah, you gotta be in a bog cutting someone's heart.
Yeah, you gotta be tossing child sacrifices into the heath outside.
Yeah,
Stonehenge.
You need to be throwing gay men into like pits.
You gotta be doing inside the way. That's Druidism.
Yeah.
If you left Judaism just after one tragedy, which like historically you did not come on. That you are what's known as a bandwagon fan. You were you would have not survived. You would have like the franchise is doing like amazing now, but you would have not survived during the early days of the franchise when we never made the playoffs.
No, this is a Mickey Mouse Jew.
But like Druidism, Druids have only ever lost. Druids are constantly getting owned throughout history. The reason that there are the only Druids left are like crazy people who convert to it after trying every type of Christianity.
Shit, you can't talk to trees. Just lie to yourself.
Shintoism is the only system of talking to trees that works because it repelled the Mongols. Druids tried the same thing and they got annihilated by the first like 1,000 Christians outside of the Middle East who all had bowl cuts.
Has Druidism ever sunk an entire armada in the sea?
No! Druidism couldn't even protect a village.
Shintoism has.
Shintoism's awesome.
Sorry, there's just the further details from this article about Nicole Shanahan. I just have to share here. It says the roots of the conversion lay with her masseuse, Ade, a Mayan Mexican immigrant who she said would whisper prayers to me while he worked. She claimed that after her 5-year marriage to Bryn ended in 2023, she was fragile, totally worn down and in anguish, but realized that Ade's prayers were doing more to heal than his massages. As we were wrapping a session, I said, "Hey, Ade, do you know anyone who can help keep bad energy away from people? Basically an exorcism." And Ade looked at me and he simply said, "Yes, when you are ready."
How like Sergey Brin he has like $70 billion.
Friend of Peter Mandelson, by the way, Sergey Brin.
Yeah, yeah.
He was at that dinner with.
I mean, who isn't? Because he is so fucking charming.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to one of his dinner parties? Just leave before 11, otherwise it gets dark.
when you see those play mats that have like, you know, roads on them, get out of there. But
it always made me laugh that the dinner that Peter Mandelson went to, they talk about it in New York Magazine, at Jeffrey Epstein's house, organized by Ghislaine Maxwell. There was Les Wexner, Donald Trump, Sergey Brin, David Blaine, and then it says, and the disgraced British minister, Peter Mandelson. Of all those people to be the disgraced one.
Yeah. Like there's a disgraced magician there. And you're saying but like Sergey Brin, $70 billion, no major physical defects I know of. Like he doesn't have a goiter. I've never heard a rumor that, you know, he has like a dick with the dimensions of a tuna can, anything like that. And it's like he just ended up marrying this fucking crazy lady. Like, why he couldn't find anyone like more normal? How does that happen?
Jeff Bezos knows what's up.
He was married to a 23andMe lady, and then he had an affair with some young lady that he put in charge of Google Glass, and broke up his family for that. Yeah, and then presumably met Mrs. Shanahan.
Will's right. Like Jeff Bezos, he just found like the average middle-aged woman from Miami, you know? I'm not saying she's average looking. Yeah, I'm not saying she's average looking. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. But
she's had some wonderful cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. Looks great. If you went to her and were like, hey, do you want to like worship a Ouija board? She would beat you with a cross. She's sticking with Catholicism, the religion.
Do you remember when Jeff Bezos' wife just donated all that money to all those completely fake organizations?
That was awesome. She read so many articles in 2020. She was like, "Well, I mean, the time this is long overdue. I'm giving $8 billion to the Black Women's Puppetry Foundation." That was the greatest period of philanthropy in human history. 2020.
So every new sentence in this Nicole Shanahan piece is brilliant. So she says she asked Ade for someone who can get bad energy away from her, and he said yes when you're ready. The article continues. That woman, she disclosed, was Bishop Diane Robinson, who with her husband, Apostle Peter Robinson, run an evangelical church in Union City, California, and are contracted to be the chaplains for Alameda County's prisons after beating out the local Catholic diocese for the contract. What the?
Why did she know so many religious figures?
There's bidding over this?
And this is not her final religion at all, by a long shot.
It says, Robinson texted her in January saying, I want to talk to you about getting baptized. And days later, Shanahan took the plunge, literally, along with her new partner, crypto entrepreneur Jacob Strumwasser. The two are not married, but had a druidic hand fasting ceremony in 2023. Strumwasser disclosed that she was, in her post, that he was raised Jewish.
This lady is just insane as well, and she was shoveling money hand over fist to RFK Jr. She paid for that Super Bowl ad just out of her own pocket. So I guess she got what she wanted. She said she was going to fund everyone who didn't vote for. She was going to fund challenges to everyone who didn't vote for RFK Jr. in the Senate. So she is just willing to burn it all for this man. I'm not particularly sure why. To be honest,
a lot of that's going around. I don't know. He's got an effect on the ladies. I think it's the voice.
Evidently.
Yeah.
He must have a hog on him. He must be able to sling it.
I just say as well, I watched that clip where they're asking RFK Jr. about the measles outbreak.
Oh my God.
And some reporter says to him, you sound quite under the weather.
Shout out to that reporter. Best reporter since friend of the show asked Tim Scott if he's ever had sex.
Lovely.
Yeah, someone needs to point these obvious things out. He sounds really annoying.
He needs to be held to account. His voice is scary.
Yeah, if wokeness is really over, can we get a guy with a different voice in there?
Yeah.
Like,
Imagine if he did, like, there was never a chance of hell, but imagine if he was president and you had to listen to that for 4 fucking
When
years.
he's talking, you can see Trump just.
It's brutal.
You know, it is hard to listen to, and I love whenever he gets asked about it, RFK Jr. He says, "I had a really strong voice." It's like, yeah, I bet you did, Paul. Not anymore.
But
it's an all-star winner of like an administration of like the most like off-putting creeps and weirdos and like genuinely like obnoxious people imaginable. I mean, every day we're gonna have to deal now until he dies of a ketamine overdose. He like falls asleep in his hot tub. We're gonna have to deal with like Elon's most particular brand of sort of like genuinely ugly sort of like I don't know if you'd call it autistic, but just sort of like autism without any of the skill or charm. So it's just sort of no ability to connect with anyone socially, no ability to have any self-awareness. So it's just his constant fucking jokes. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm living the meme. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. But with like RFK as well, it's like it's gonna be years of just like hearing his voice, of just hearing. I guess that's just how it's gonna be now for the next few years as I'm fucking a badger and extracted a new kind of disease but I can cure it by drinking this toxin that I brewed in my laboratory.
Oh yeah, that is disgusting. That he's
it's
drinking
awful.
Blue.
Have you seen him drinking? I don't know what it's called, like methylene blue or something.
Methylene blue, yeah. What Mel Gibson
and
was
it
talking
literally
about
dyes
on Joe
your
Rogan.
brain blue. Like it's completely blue. He literally
and he's up to no good as well. You can tell he's up to no good. You know, Cheryl Hines probably not got long before
he's going to eat her.
Yeah, or tie a nautical knot around her neck.
I mean, that like, we do need like a Frost Nixon type thing where like an intrepid reporter, one of the last brave reporters we have, is
Owen Jones.
Owen Jones, yes. After he condemns Hamas, he will go, okay, what is, you know, you're constantly like pouring apple cider vinegar and like dirt into everything, and you say it's better than medicine. What is the homeopathic cure for your shitty voice? How come you haven't tackled that one yet, genius?
He's had some surgery on it or something. He went to Japan.
It didn't work. He sounds fucking terrible.
Well, you brought up condemning Hamas, and I knew you guys were coming on the show, so I'm gonna like to give you the opportunity. No, I was just like to say I'm thinking about it because you know I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but in the last weeks, Israel has made having red hair the new centerpiece of their campaign of genocidal incitement.
Well,
it's
so weird.
Yeah, the Empire State Building was lit up in orange last night. As like a tribute to this, the child of that family that Israel killed about a year ago, bombing them in the early stages of this war. But like you know, like these hostages that were killed, and then it like their bodies were returned, and they like pretended that they like strangled this little ginger kid to death with their bare hands or something. But like there's all these like AI generated propaganda about like we'll never forget that ginger kid and his special
every time you see
hair.
a ginger from now on we'll remember.
Yeah.
It is extremely, I mean, it's white supremacy, isn't it?
It's making a point of ginger, like specifically white ginger.
And
like something that like the average Palestinian doesn't have.
It should go without saying, how many fucking babies have they killed? You know?
I know. I mean, it's like, you know, obviously, like, you just like, you think about like the way these people like fucking Bovine Barry, like, she had a tweet the other week that was like, "This week broke me." And I'm like, oh, what?
I
30,000 babies before this? You just like, that was like water off your fucking back.
She is despicable. Hopefully she gets sent to prison for the rest of her life if there's any hope for this universe. She is singularly despicable. All of these people,
genuinely like evil.
Yeah, all of these people wanking on about, you know, every time an Israeli kid or an Israeli 17-year-old dies, they just did a fucking Holocaust. 70% women and children. You know, it's almost certainly 300,000, 400,000 people must be at least by now, I would assume. No one gives a shit. The fact that these people are still doing this right now is absurd.
Like the counter argument they have with like this kid specifically, right, is like, oh well, like you know, okay, maybe Israel did bomb them like they did several of the other hostages. Both
Including
on
one of the
October
gingers
7th
that they shot who was waving a white flag.
Yeah, both on October 7th and after, almost like it's part of their protocol.
Yeah.
But the responsibility lays on Hamas because they abducted him, which is incredible because it's like, well, everyone knows that Israel kills all of their own hostages.
Yeah,
what do you think would happen? What, you think we value human life? This is your fault.
Look, I've seen Israeli cuisine, and even amidst like a blockade where no food is getting in, that kid would have eaten better than he would have done in Israeli territory for his whole life, like easily. But that's part of it. Is like they like as capable as Hamas are with like their tunnel network, genuinely like their ability to wage like guerrilla warfare against $1 trillion military. There is no, I don't think there's very few historical precedents that come close. Like you can look at like Vietnam or whatever.
Yeah,
but
Viet
like
Cong would
this,
be the one.
concentration camp prisoners managed to kick the fuck out of the IDF. So, but the IDF still has its ability, like surveillance measures and capabilities. There's a good chance they knew where these fucking kids were, obliterated them intentionally, Hannibal Doctrine, and then we're waiting for the right moment to sort of like play the fucking victim card. Like, I can't believe like these kids were strangled and smashed against the rocks, Pol Pot style. Like, it's obscene. It's genuinely grotesque.
And it's very clear that like this is part and parcel of like there's no way they want to go to the second phase of this ceasefire. They're looking to restart the war tomorrow. And this is just another like bit of genocidal incitement where they're like, look at this one kid that they killed and not like the 40,000 that we just exterminated. But like I've noticed that like, we've talked about this a lot, but like in America, like the organs of like propaganda, they're very adamant that if you say the word genocide, they're like, you're playing the genocide card again, I see, but like I think you'll find that there has been no genocide. And it's just funny because in the Israeli press and on their own social media, like chats and group texts, or even just in their media, they're absolutely bragging about this. They have no compunction whatsoever that what they're doing isn't genocide. They're saying it loudly, and they're quite proud of what they've done.
If you have a strong stomach, just go find an Israeli Telegram group. It's not hard. You just click through and look at the types of things that they post in there. Is every single type of human evil. It's just insane.
There's a great one here that is IDF approved that I found. It has 124,000 subscribers, which is quite a lot considering the population of Israeli Jews. And it's a picture of a blooded Palestinian child, and it says, "Cry, you whore, a whore, 1,000 whores. Cry as long as you can until we get together to get you two and eliminate you together with your ugly girl. Although there is no stinking terrorist blood here, but the sounds of sorrow emanating from the throats of sluts soothe the soul." Like amazing Israeli prose, by the way, really well written. But just a fantastic reaction to that, including 9 hot dog emoji reactions. So whatever that means.
I think with the Israelis, it's an epic heckin' meme to say that they're all pedos. But specifically in the communications that they make on the internet, there is a hypersexual violence undercurrent to that, and it really really does. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, they're obsessed with that.
And obviously there is a large element of sexual violence in the genocidal campaign that they are waging, but I don't know. The average Israeli appears to be on the internet just bragging about other Israelis raping people or fantasizing about other Israelis raping people. It's just endless. It's absolutely endless, and I don't know how, hypothetically, a perfect ceasefire went through. How do you reconcile with that when there is a population of people who believe that sexual violence is completely valid in that scenario, and they are a permanent occupation force, and all of their little toads on the internet sit and threaten random women. I mean, I get messages on Twitter. I get messages from these Zionist insane people every day with pictures of dead kids talking about the things that they would do to them, and it's always sexual, and it's kind of obviously a bit edgelordy. They're trying to provoke, but I just think why bother? What is going on? You got everything that you wanted, really. You killed enough people. You've effectively just completely wiped out Gaza. Done, and now you get the realignment that you want.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's definitely like we were talking about the sort of like soy right conservatives and how they scold you for not liking them. And it's the same psychology that you get with like Israelis. It's like they can get what they want, but now that they're global pariahs, that nobody likes them and has no reason to like them, that genuinely drives them insane. Like they can't accept that despite like raping, slaughtering, torturing a few 100,000 people, that isn't like they can't accept that they can't just get away with that. Like that people will just let them. We can't just move on beyond that, and that pisses them off. They can't accept that they're the villains in the story, so they just lash out like this. It's pathetic.
I always wonder if Corbyn had happened 5-6 years later, would it have stuck as well, the anti-Semitism? If this had happened before they started smearing him as an anti-Semite, obviously 2023 onward, everyone got smeared as an anti-Semite. Everyone who literally. People on the fence who had nothing to say whatsoever, smeared as an anti-Semite, the Pope, they're all Hamas. And it has certainly worn thin, but, you know, at the start of the Corbyn smears, Corbyn was called anti-Semite for saying that a group of Zionists don't understand English irony, to the point where unanimously in the Parliament, everyone was calling for him to resign for that. Would that have washed as much? I don't know.
He said that they don't understand irony, but like, had he seen their sketch comedy programs from Israel? Because they're quite biting.
Good. It's real biting.
It's scathing. Yeah,
I mean, they make
purple head, like a college student identifying as an attack helicopter. I love Hamas and I'm LGBT.
Well, that was one road not taken, but I do want to check in on how things are going in the UK now under Starmer-mentum. I just in preparing for this episode, I have a news article here from August, and I just want to read the beginning of this marking the sort of Keir Starmer coming into power, and it says here, London. In his first major speech since becoming Prime Minister, Keir Starmer told the British people on Tuesday that their country was in a societal and economic black hole and that things will get worse before they get better. The speech was remarkable for its woeful description of modern Britain. Starmer repeatedly deployed the word rot to describe the condition of the country he now leads, as in a house with rotting foundation that needs more than a cosmetic coat of paint.
Starmer to be specific, the pretext of this is that he had spent the previous month saying that it was a new day in Britain and that the sunlight of hope was washing onto all of us.
Now even light itself will be swallowed by the black hole of rot in the country that I'm presiding over. But like, Starmer really like. Once again, it's like I feel like everything terrible about the Democrats in our society. I just merely have to cast my glance across the ocean at the Labour Party to just be like, wow. That is really demoralizing. Holy shit! So, what are things like in the black hole these days?
I mean, it's hell here. It's absolute hell. I was always very cynical about what would happen when Starmer became Prime Minister. It was evident that he would for the last 3 years or whatever. And I had never in a million years anticipated that he would fuck it this badly. He is, by some margin, the least popular leader in Europe. He is more unpopular than Justin Trudeau after he resigned after 9 years.
After like how many years?
Yeah, 9 years. Keir has been
9 years,
6 months,
and like he's speedrun it, which is quite impressive.
Keir Starmer has kind of completely destroyed the two-party system in Britain. If the polls hold up, Reform will get all of the votes ever, and both the Tories and Labour
is that
would
Nigel
be reduced.
Farage's party?
Yeah. And even 2 years ago, the idea that Nigel Farage would become Prime Minister was laughable. And now he gets whatever he wants. Keir is... it's hard to articulate just how widely loathed he is. Everyone hates him. Every single person hates him, and every single thing that he says. He doesn't know how to talk most of the time.
He has no charisma.
He has no charisma, but he just routinely he talks like Tim Heidecker. He can't pronounce anything.
Yes. It is like a Heidecker, like on cinema. Like when
today with Trump, he was saying, our countries are great fens. Trying to say friends. Is this the best that you've got? But coming back to...
The singest biggle problem he has is the
the singest biggle problem. He said Hamas need to release the sausages. He literally does not know how to speak.
A void of charisma.
Coming back to...
In a way that is, I think, honestly, for a politician, kind of like unprecedented, because they're all like... Everyone preceding him is like a psychopathic slug, just like utterly repellent, genuinely evil. But they could string a sentence together. Yeah. They could articulate a point. And like he genuinely struggles doing that. He stumbles over himself. I mean, maybe it has to do with the fact that he's a raging alcoholic. Maybe he's just thick as fuck. But I
think my take is that he at some point he started getting like media training. He took elocution lessons with an actress lady, and clearly, I think what they've done is they've suppressed whatever his real personality is. Best I can gauge, he just seems like a bit of an arsehole. But he's not that in public. He is this sort of nagging dinner lady, adenoidal,
care home.
Okay. Very, placid. K for care. He's so trying to be so toothless and inoffensive that it just comes off as artificial or like, I don't know, a profoundly angloid autism. I think the speech that he gave about tough decisions needing to be made, Keir still to this day seems to believe and brief the press as much that he believes this is at least a 2-term job, at least a 10-year job. He intends to fight and win the next election. He is less popular after 6 months than the 14-year incumbents that he beat 6 months ago. And I literally don't know what fucking planet they're on that they think they'll do that. The whole shtick with Jeremy Corbyn was, he fucked it. He got X amount of % behind in the polls. He did X badly in 2019. All of the people who were supporting Keir Starmer thereafter said that if Keir Starmer ever dropped below 20 points ahead of the opposition, they would call for him to resign. I mean, he is about to literally cause one of the biggest resets in British politics ever. I think I don't know if it'll be lasting, but it would be the first time in a very long time that a party other than Tory or Labour have got a majority, which Reform are projected to do. It would, I presume the Tory party will just be completely destroyed. Maybe the Labour party, maybe that'd be good. But for someone with that kind of CV, he is very much like an analogue for Kamala Harris. And with the Harris campaign in the summer, when the Harris campaign's messaging started becoming incoherent, that was exactly when Labour sent over advisors to tell them how to run a campaign. Party over country, was that a thing? Country over party, that's a Labour party. Country over party. And you started seeing this more and more, and they had very explicitly been advised by Keir Starmer to do these things.
I always loved country over party because it's like, everyone come to the country over party.
And that's when she brought out Liz Cheney as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's great because like not to retread old ground, but it's just the height of the popularity of the campaign was what's he got? Waltz. I've already forgotten who he is, but he was coming on and saying aren't these aren't they fucking weirdos and freaks? Aren't they like perverts and oddballs? And that was like a huge success among the base. It's like, these guys, the Republicans are weird, sex creeps and obsessive weirdos. It's like, no, walk that back. We got to walk that back. We're going to do respectability politics, which is just always invigorating and inspiring. And that must have been a Keir Starmer classic. That must have been.
Yeah, or Kamala going on TV saying, I've got a gun, I've killed loads of people. I do it all the time.
There's people always,
you reach for my chain, I'm putting you on a t-shirt.
People always forget the hilarious things that people say during campaigns. I mean, this is universally true, right? Like for Trump, there was this allusion to a type of national conservatism that could not be more different than the just completely reckless path of austerity we're on. But with the Democrats, it was stuff like, every man in America sees Tim Walz and they're like, I want to be him.
He's low-key daddy. We got that in our press talking about Tim Walz.
Yes, they were constantly sexualizing him as this sort of sophisticated there was an article where it was him and his family in the fucking in his living room, and the author was going, this is getting a bit too erotic now. Like the steaminess, the charged nature of Starmer and his wife and their intimacy is very bizarre and perverted.
Yeah, that was his biographer. The way that Starmer is covered there is a sexual undercurrent to it, but it's not quite like Tim Walz. It's like I don't know. They all imagine him like Hugh Grant in Love Actually, kind of thing. I think is the idea.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the British press, because I wanted to close out the show with an examination of, I would say, the rare British media figure that I actually adore. Now, I've compared the British media to sort of basically like the sluice that channels the runoff from a slaughterhouse is how I would describe most of the British press. But I'd like to finally take the opportunity on the show to like big up a true ray of sunshine in the black hole. That is the light that has somehow managed to escape the gravitational pull of the rot of Great Britain. And I, of course, am speaking about Guardian columnist Adrian Chiles, who is, I think, probably one of the greatest columnists ever. I don't know if he has a Pulitzer, but he should get it for such articles as "Brushing your teeth is important, but I hate toothbrushes." I mean, I don't know if that's an Adrian Chiles article. That was one I came with off the top of my head. But I have one here from just last week. This is his Guardian column. I have nothing but respect for waiters, except when they interrupt me. And I mean,
he's got so many. This is a week ago. My dad died a year ago, and a photo of him on Google Street View brought me up short.
Jacob, I have another one here. And this is like very relatable. At 57, I went to the British Museum for the first time, and it left me rather cold. I mean, yeah, museums are boring.
I've always loved this guy. I remember an article he had about like putting a urinal in his house.
Yeah, I was just about to read that. I have a urinal in my flat, and it has changed my life. Why are people so appalled?
I've seen people bitch about him, and it's like, do you know who they would put in his place if they fired him?
Yeah.
They would Skullface from MGS5.
It does help. He's married to the editor of The Guardian, so
whatever.
Respect. Like he earned his way there, I think. Like he charmed his way into it, and he's charmed his way into our hearts with his articles. Like
every week, it's just an article titled "I'm a fat, useless bastard," and why is everyone so horrible to me about it?
But I want to read a little from the I have nothing but respect for waiters article, because I think he identifies a problem that I think a lot of people can relate to. He begins, my dad used to say that the mark of a good waiter or waitress was that they would always be looking around to see if anyone wanted to catch their eye. A fair point. I pride myself on being a low-maintenance diner, unlikely to grumble or make a scene unless the food is stone cold or has a dead mouse in it or something. Even then, it's hardly the fault of the waiting staff. But yes, it is a bit annoying if you want something and can't get anyone's attention. What I find more annoying, though, and I don't feel good about saying this, is getting too much attention. This is something I feel ashamed to grumble about, but it's that business of being asked if everything is okay. It's a nice gesture, indicating some interest in the happiness of the customer, but it's all about timing. There I am, glass in hand, well into the opening phase of a world-beating anecdote, with which I feel confident of wowing the table. When a member of the staff materializes next to us...
speaks about themselves like this.
To me, it's no different from being at Stratford delivering Hamlet's first soliloquy, only to become aware that the caretaker has wandered onto the stage. I know it, the audience knows it, the intruder knows it. I have two choices.
The intruder!
I'm experiencing a home invasion at this restaurant. He says here, I have two choices. Plow on, finish the story, probably an abridged version, or more likely just stop mid-sentence. Is everything okay? Well, yes and no. The food is fine, but my anecdote is in tatters.
Well, do you know what? This might be a stretch, but I'm curious if you agree with this. I think he might be the sort of middle class kind of educated equivalent of Carl Pilkington.
Yes.
Yeah,
oh my God,
so.
Yeah. Waiters,
like, there's
do
a
we
lot
need
of
them?
oddball commentary that's very mundane, and then mixed with something like, "Yeah, I have a urinal in my bathroom. Why wouldn't I?" It's like, that's only a harebrained idea that like Carl would come up with.
Yeah. He goes here, I find it impossible to recover from this interruption. Apart from anything else, it allows time for the dreadful realization to dawn that the anecdote wasn't much cop anyway. No one at the table looks bothered that they have not heard it. They have not heard it out. No one says, oh, do go on, finish the story. It would be terrible if you didn't. Humiliating. On reflection, I don't know what I would do differently if I were the waiter. He can't simply shrink away while I'm talking, leaving the question unasked. Neither can he stand there forever while I round things off. That would be almost intrusive, as if he were listening in. Although when I finally got to the punchline, if he laughed and applauded rapturously, I would find it in my heart to forgive him. And doubtless double the tip. I love it. He like this is what I love about his columns is like it begins with a premise, and then by the end of it, he'll completely negate it and be like, "Well, I guess I'm just an asshole no one likes. Oh well, I guess I'll continue waking up every day of my miserable, humiliating life."
He's the only columnist with any integrity at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Genuinely, that's not even a joke. Like, he is the one British columnist who shouldn't be fed into a fucking tree shredder.
I saw him on
he's a
Loose
good
Women.
soul.
I saw him on Loose Women not long ago. I guess it's the British version of like The View. And he was talking
Yeah.
about
It's called
how-
Loose Women.
It's called Loose
Yeah, that's what
Women.
it's called, Loose Women. It's the most racist show in Britain.
That is
Bunch
that
of
is-
right slappers on that morning
Yeah,
talk.
basically.
Proper slags.
And once a year on Men's
I
Mental
love
Health Day,
slags.
they do Loose Men as well.
Oh, okay.
But Loose Women, he was on there and he was saying that he got diagnosed with an eating disorder because he would go on the train and he wouldn't be able to stop eating all the bacon sandwiches that they had. He would just be scoffing them in his mouth. And he realised that he has a
So
problem.
like, wait, he can't stop eating the bacon buddies on the British rail.
He
They're
was
like,
absolutely
Well, how was
butted
the
off his
longest
head.
train ride in Great Britain? Like an hour and a half? What
He
the
was
fuck?
talking like 5 or 6. Sat down just
5 or 6.
It's a
That's
very
so much
racist meal
bread.
though, as well. You know?
Oh yeah. I saw that poster. The picture you posted of the guy like eating like just a mound of bacon, being like offended Islam.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I mean, the bacon stuff making a nice comeback in the.
The caption was even better. This is one of my favorite conventions of like right wing like Islamic diet stuff where they're like, I've heard that this photo is offending Muslims, and it's like I have never once seen any Muslim, including like the guys who their bio says they're in London and they're like, go ISIS, you know?
Yeah.
Like the craziest political sophists in the world, the converts and reverts. I haven't seen a single one like, you know, go, I just saw a guy eating a bacon sandwich. I'm going to fucking puke. I'm so offended.
There seems to be a conception that like the average Muslim reveres pork the way Hindus do cows or something. Like,
Yeah.
like, no, this isn't an object of worship. They don't give a fuck.
It's a fixation in British politics. At the last election, I think Channel 4 got a Reform candidate on camera saying that he had gone to a mosque and while it was being built and put a pig's head in the concrete underneath to desecrate it. These people are insane, and it is always around this, you know, we're English, we eat bacon butties. We eat bacon butties and drink pints and take the piss. Don't like it? Leave. And that is the ethos of 75% of the country.
Sure, they love having a pint, taking the piss, but then you talk bad about the royal family, and they're like, "Get out of my country! Fuck you!" I said to bring up the other thing you. The other thing, just another.
Sorry, I actually remember my local pub commemorating the what's the word? The ascension of King Charles. Like they had his portrait up, they had like banners up and everything.
Yeah, it's depressing.
Very pathetic. Very pathetic.
Oh, but like that, come on, like when Queen Elizabeth died, you should have retired the monarchy. No one wants to see this asshole.
Yeah,
king.
like,
no
she
one
was
wants to
the
see his
last one of any
bald
Jews.
fucking son or the other son that's just an American now. Just end this royal family. Like
But
Queen Elizabeth,
Meghan Markle
longest reigning
has-
monarch in history.
You-
Great
can
job, but it's over with her. It's done.
Can we do a little bit of Liz revisionism? Like, yeah, you know, the old dog has some bad history to her, but she did say the Orange Order was embarrassing, and she did consider basically all Israelis to be terrorists. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. You know, some things
Kill
are bad.
Diana,
you know.
though, you know?
Yeah, killed Diana, gay
Well, I mean,
icon,
she did
which
some
is
bad
pretty
things
terrible.
too.
Yeah, like I said, it's like nobody's perfect clear cut, but she did call Israeli terrorists. So maybe,
Yeah. But I think that was more just she liked the royal family have some interesting links to a certain German party.
Oh yeah, certain German,
for
certain
a
German
different
family,
reason.
they have some very
They're
interesting.
not liking the
links there.
Israelis, I think.
But no, the last thing I wanted to mention to you was another dispatch from England, where it was someone complaining that a local pret-a-manger in London had only one bathroom that was not gender, like sort of gender split. It was just one washroom, one bathroom for customers, because pret-a-manger is like, it's not like a huge restaurant. It's like a fucking like it's just a storefront where you get like a bad sandwich and a coffee.
Yeah, it's just a
And it
tough
involved
sandwich
him
shop.
basically being like, I was so disturbed by this that like I followed a girl into the bathroom to make sure there weren't any sickos in there.
Yeah, and then like 30 minutes later, he added a reply saying, actually, I immediately left the bathroom because I felt wrong. Why did you go in there then?
Well, it's just like, why don't you just wait your turn? Like, what's the issue here?
This is obviously
to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
This is obviously a bigger issue here than anywhere else. I think is absurd. But
Why do you
they've
think
completely
that
captured.
is? Like, what is it?
I don't know, to be
J.K.
honest.
Rowling, or is it? Just
It's an element of J.K. Rowling. It's an element of how they captured The Guardian, I think, as well, because of that audience share. J.K. Rowling is always stirring it up. Graham Linehan is a fucking nightmare for it. It really does have. I don't know. In America, it seems to me that the people who are transphobic are not, by and large, women, whereas there's a massive contingent in Britain of female transphobic people.
I remember a long time ago getting a report of a social networking service in the UK called Mumsnet that was described to us as a source of this particular kind of insanity.
Yeah, I mean, Mumsnet previously.
That's Britain Stormfront.
Yeah, Mumsnet until 2016 maybe was just mums go on there, speak about fucking mothering, and they occasionally get to ask a candidate for prime minister, what's your favorite type of biscuit? And then from 2017 onwards, they're like posting the address of children. They're trying to they just are insane. I suppose it's where a lot of transvestigating originates, because these people were just, you see them on Twitter like, the head teacher at my son's school got a bit of an Adam's apple on her, hasn't she? And they're just trying to work out exactly pixel by pixel whether these random people they encounter in life are secretly transgender. But I guess it is just mass psychosis as well, rather than just
the answer is
these
that
people are insane.
Any human being born after 1945 was, in fact, transitioned at birth.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
basically.
Whatever you think you are, it's the opposite.
Can we just admire the sheer logistical brilliance required to pull that off? Like everyone
in Britain, there is kind of like QAnon, I guess. Keir Starmer once misspoke in an interview and said that he has a girl and a girl, maybe. No, a boy and a boy, when he was talking about his children. He meant to say a boy and a girl, and literally it must have been 18 months of these people saying that Keir Starmer secretly had transitioned his child to the other gender, and he was hiding it, and he'd slipped up this one time. But it's just Keir Starmer doesn't know how to talk. Like, you listen to that clip, he can't say a simple sentence like, I love my children. He has to go, I've got a boy and we live at home.
He probably just hasn't seen his kids in so long, he fucking forgot.
Yeah, I think so.
We live at home is such a perfect Starmerism. I don't even know if he's actually said it, but it's just so. It's like, you know what he has. I don't care if it literally happened or not. I see in my mind's eye, I see him going, traditional family life. You live at home like anyone else.
It's like that Trump Liz Warren tweet where it's like saying,
the beer disaster.
Like, is your home? He's supposed to be there.
That was perfect though, because I gotta say, like Elizabeth Warren thanking her husband, being like, "I want to thank my husband for being here in my house, supporting me as I run for president."
That was really brave of him. We have to give him.
Yeah. Let's give it up to the husbands.
Yeah, shout out to the husbands, the unappreciated sex.
Trump was glazing Lady Victoria today as well. Trump said, he's got a wonderful wife. She's fantastic. He's a lucky guy.
I love it with the Donald Trump Warren thing. I loved how he called it the Elizabeth Warren beer catastrophe.
Beer catastrophe. Yeah, that's it. All right, gang. I think we should wrap it up there with the beer catastrophe. But once again, thanks to Eyup Lovely, Jacob Venom Snake. The podcast is Scroungers. Everybody, please like and subscribe. There will be a link in the show description. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show.
It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Great time had by all. Thank you very much. We'll come back anytime. You come on our show as well.
Oh, well,
all of you. Every single one of you.
All right. Chris, do you have any business to attend to? I'll just remind people once again, this Sunday at Club A1 or 1A. It's a club on the Lower East Side.
101. The details will be in them.
Yeah, detail. Well, anyway, a fundraiser for Zoran Mandami for mayor. Hess and I will be doing a live Oscars watch party. So come and get some Oscars movie mindset and raise some money for a movie mindset mayor to be mayor of New York. Let's make it happen, people.
Don't let it be Cuomo again. You can't, again, it's you know.
I'll be hosting a competing fundraiser for Andrew Cuomo.
God damn it, Felix. Can you just support me?
Well, I mean, in my defense, I'm getting paid a lot.
All right. Okay. All right.
Infirm hugs.
All right. Sayonara, everybody. Bye-bye.